All right, Shelton.
Second
so we're here, Costa Mesa, open mic night. This is your first time performing in quite a while. So
if I want to try to hide the fact that it's an open mic night.
Well, as a producer-screenwriter, I've come across many artists. And I wanted to tell the story of an artist who hadn't received his due.
I've always loved underdogs in every setting. I wish I were one.
I chose Shelton because I wasn't sure if he was the most talented, but he was definitely the most interesting.
Everything he's ever done, he has given 100%, whether it was to soccer or drugs.
I often wonder, how did a person that sees themselves the way he sees himself, how did they grow up?
He is kind of a weird guy and has very dark humor.
He's an enigma, that's for sure.
What's the angriest you've ever been at him?
So much of his life is about the struggle of becoming the star. I wonder if he would be lost without that. He claims it's about the art, but sometimes the drama and the struggle is just enough. Or maybe he just needs to get laid really bad.
It takes a long time to recover in that sense. So active addiction, what was the question again?
Why do so many passionate artists struggle with addiction?
So do you think you're in the same boat with like the rest of the comics, how they say comedians are usually comedians because they're depressed about their life?
I just want it known for the record that I truly admire monogamy and those who practice it. It really is a beautiful thing when two people can stay loyal to each other for life. Don't want to do it.
Do you think comedy is as competitive as people say it is?
Not as much as people think. A lot of people think comedy is just brutally competitive. I mean, think of all the terrible consequences that occur when you don't practice monogamy. As long as you have at least one or two friends that you can count on and trust. All these dreadful STDs out there. I had a buddy, we sort of developed this sacred artistic partnership. If you're not practicing monogamy, you always end up going on first date after first date after first date. Guys are always gonna pretend to have a lot more money than they have, gonna go broke, everyone's gonna get hurt.
You know the saying, all the world is a stage? It applies to Shelton more than anybody I know.
And it causes him so many problems.
Yes, it does.
If you're not practicing monogamy, you end up with all these dangerous love triangles. He's obsessed with her, but she's stalking his cousin, and it's just a big clusterfuck half the time.
We first met at a church that was for creative people.
Yeah.
Actors, musicians, writers, just creative people. And he was kind of shy.
Yeah.
Attention, aging, balding gay men. I'm from the fashion police, and you are under arrest. But there is one. Wearing an earring when you're 65 does not make you look younger. Newsflash, you only look gayer. There's one consequence of not practicing monogamy that's it's so repulsive, I don't even want to say it.
So Shelton has mentioned ad nauseum about his privileged upbringing and how...
I don't even know if you need to add ad nauseum. I mean, if he's mentioned it, it's kind of assumed it's ad nauseum, right?
Are guys friends with girls just for the possibility of having sex with them?
There's this big crowd, new audience, new stage.
I love the way that you are with passive aggressive. Like, it's passive, but at the same time, it's just like, dude, really?
That's what makes it sting even harder. As his comic buddy, I try to give him a good pep talk before the show and try to get his confidence up and after all that brilliance, he still went out there and bombed like a brick shithouse. Just like I was hoping he would. Let me tell you something about stand-up comedy. There's nothing like the sound of laughter at your jokes. It really gives you some confidence for the day, you know? The only sound better is silence during another comic's jokes. It feeds your soul. It keeps you warm at night.
I guess. Fame is competitive, but...
Why not interview some other comics?
Because I don't give a shit what most comics think, say, or do.
Did you like him instantly?
No.
You get the vibe off everyone's face, like that you just hit them hard.
Good. That's the plan. It's so disgusting. All right, this consequence alone should encourage everyone to practice monogamy. Here we go. You should practice monogamy because if you're not practicing monogamy, you may find yourself one day suffering the consequences of having sex with condoms. No! Oh dear God, no, anything but that. Oh no.
Let's just say mixed reviews.
Well, the condom joke's a joke that I've told a few times and no one has ever laughed at it.
Shelton, what makes you feel that you're best comic in Southern California, right?
I never said I was the best comic in Southern California. And I think when you're not getting the response you want from your art, there's a tendency to second guess yourself. I believe that my charisma and sense of humor make me the sexiest guy in Southern California.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but...
So Kate, buddy old pal, sugar, precious. The more I thought about the condom joke, I realized that no, it's a good joke. And I'm right, they're wrong, fuck them.
Eventually, this condom joke, like kind of like whatever makes, I don't know, Sam Kinison his screaming, or
sure, or
whatever makes Louis C.K., or the the redneck jokes with Jeff Foxberry, or
oh gag, God, those redneck comics. Oh, they're the worst. Really, to me, the condom joke symbolizes staying true to one's own voice and one's own vision of their own art amidst failure. Not because I ever liked stand-up comedy. I don't sit around and watch it. I'm not inspired by any stand-up comics. I did it because it scared me. A friend came up to me the other day and he said, "Shelton, that's great, you're pursuing stand-up comedy again." Folks, let me explain something to you. No one pursues stand-up comedy, okay? Stand-up comedy is what you find yourself trying once you've failed everything else. And that's why it's so scary, you know? It's like there's nowhere to go from here. You guys have probably thought about doing stand-up, haven't you? You know, it's crossed your mind. You probably had this thought, well, I'll just get up there and make a fool of myself. Yeah, make a fool of yourself. Yeah, well, what if you suck at that too? Then where the hell do you go? I want out! I want to get to the bottom of this thing once and for all, okay? What's it called again? The friend zone. Yeah, we need to get some kind of solution for this thing.
Some clarity.
Some clarity.
Okay.
It's exciting because there is that fear of failure, but I know I'm funny. A rock star always says the right thing. Even when I say the wrong thing, it's the right thing.
Sheldon always talks the talk, that's for sure.
Really, the right thing to say is, well, it's defined by what a rock star says.
And he certainly tries to walk the walk.
If I say red, and then 30 seconds later I say black, it doesn't mean that I changed my mind. It means that when I said red, it was red.
But most of his projects come back with, let's just say, mixed reviews.
I work at a rehab center, and they watch comics all day long, and I just know that I'm funnier than every single big name out there that they're calling a great comic. And one of them was Dane Cook there watching, and they were just in tears. I don't even think I smirked one time during Dane Cook's set.
Shelton says you are his biggest comic influence. Does that honor you, or do the chances that he takes embarrass you?
Is there an option C?
It was almost like cheating to get to grow up with Susan. To say I was born on third base comically was an understatement, because all I've known.
You do know you're speaking about your sister, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of a wrong analogy there. But you are from Kentucky. So.
Is it really as black and white as people say, in that when you're in a woman's friend zone, you're there for life? Because I've heard that, but I've also heard great partners say, oh, well, we were best friends before we got married. You see, a rock star has a way of sort of kind of speaking things into existence, kind of like God in that regard. Am I allowed to vape here? No, I can't vape anywhere.
You are, but you shouldn't be allowed.
Well, I tried to vape at the airport bathroom today, and some guy walked up to me and said, "That's so offensive. God forbid I make a public urinal smell like honeydew cherry blossom." So we're trying to rise the ranks in comedy, which I have no interest in doing. First of all, most comics I've met, I absolutely despise.
I wasn't sure if he was what he claimed to be, or if he was just another jealous, bitter artist.
The most aren't funny off stage.
Shelton he thought his stuff was like the best, and he always thought that, what he had going on was like amazing, and it was always like slightly strange, or there's something up going on there that was like a little bit off or a little bit different.
She walks in with the G-string and just closed the laptop shut and jumped his bones. I was like, man, it's been a while since I've had one of those closing the laptop moments, guys. It's like, I think we can agree we all need more of those closing the laptop moments that let us know something great's about to begin, right? I mean, anymore, every sexual experience I have finishes by me closing a laptop.
A few reasons. They could either not have the income that the woman wants, they could not have the body that the woman wants, they could not have the fashion sense that the woman wants, or maybe they're just not interesting enough to her. But all of those things can be changed. All of those things can be worked on. So if somebody finds themselves friend zoned and they don't want to be, the answer lies in working on themselves.
So it's a lot of it's some of the external factors. Because obviously, if they're friends, they like the person as a person.
Exactly.
Okay. Said, I'm not like most comics, and I'm not a complete social retard who can hold a conversation and still be funny off stage. If a woman's attracted to a guy and she's friends with him, would that friendship cancel if she has to sleep with someone? Comedy with me just flows. It just happens in the moment. Unexpected, expected.
But women don't have to sleep with somebody. We're not wired the same way that men are.
I truly do write punchlines at will and have such a unique charisma and a unique way of viewing the world and making my voice heard that I don't feel like I'm competing with any other comic out there, because there is no competition for what I do.
I think Sheldon casts an air of superiority, because when he tells people he's better than them, it makes him strive to become better than them.
You guys notice, since internet porn came on the scene, when you talk to your friends about their day, there are now just these unaccounted for chunks of time. You know what I'm saying?
That, and he's just kind of an asshole.
You call your buddy, you're like, hey man, what'd you do since we got off work? Well, I ironed a shirt. Okay, and what about Saturday and Sunday? To me, the standard of beauty has always been Vanessa Williams. She won Miss America in about 1980. And if you ask me, she's never been dethroned. That lady's been the object of my lust for as long as I've had a hard-on.
We like it, we enjoy it, it's a healthy thing, but we don't crave it or need it the same way that men do.
Okay, interesting point. So given that, and if women can acknowledge that it is a need for men, right? Okay, so if you have a friend who's been there for you to fulfill your needs, whether they be whatever.
No, I'm not doing sexual favors.
But I had a friend who got to meet her one time, and he took some food to her house when she was married to that basketball player. What was his name? The Laker, the Rick Fox. And my friend swears, his words, not mine. He swears he walked into a drunken, nude Sodom and Gomorrah. Wow, when I do the right things, it produces much less satisfying results.
Maybe you're not doing the right things.
He swears that Rick Fox's dick rubbed up against his shoulder. I don't know how someone's dick rubs up against your shoulder. I usually am the nice guy, the friend zone guy. The one time, the few times I've been a complete douchebag, it seems to get rewarded by women. And I'm puzzled by that because I don't want to be that person. My friend was trying to act like he was offended, like he'd been violated. It's like, you dumb son of a bitch, don't you realize how lucky you are to be a part of that encounter? Think about it, Trevor, you have a nude, drunk, flirty Vanessa Williams in the room. I'd let Rick Fox slap me in the face with his cock if only I could. Think about nude, drunk, flirty Vanessa Williams in the room. I'd let Rick Fox slap me across the face with his cock if I... Yeah, I'd let Rick Fox slap me across the face with his cock. When the audience senses that you need them to laugh, you're fucked, in every sense of the word. So they're trying to pass a law in Sacramento right now to outlaw driving under the influence of medical marijuana. Can you believe that? You mean to tell me this whole time I just thought I was breaking the law? And I just need to convince myself that I'm not the one on trial here tonight. They are. I don't give a damn if they laugh or not. They say the average American male looks at internet porn 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It takes me 30 minutes just to find a scene I haven't already watched. I looked at porn 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at lunch, 30 minutes before this show. It's becoming a second job for me. Am I ever gonna get some time for me? Jerry Seinfeld, there's always been something about him that bugged me.
Hey Shelton, how was your set, man?
I'm deep. I'm daring. There's a real smugness with him I don't like. A real insiderness. Charisma. I have charisma that covers a multitude of sins.
I was reading Shelton's autobiography the other day, the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book.
You can leave out Anonymous. How do you feel about Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart? Kevin Hart's annoying. I'll alienate this whole damn world and still be adored. I'm sure if I watched enough Kevin Hart, I would chuckle a time or two, but no, I find him to be very cliched and very, well, I've seen it before. It's as old as the whole Italian gangster, forget about it and all that shit. That's just been, it's enough already.
Yeah.
It's been done. Find your own path and find your own voice. How does that send any other message than, okay, in the future, remind me, don't be friends. Don't be a friend to a woman you're attracted to. Don't be there when she needs you.
Well, that's not real love.
And he jokes about his sickness, and like maybe you could possibly do that with something like being in like addicts and stuff.
Well, there is kind of a rule of thumb that people appreciate self-deprecating humor the most. My neighbors collectively came over to my place and they said, Shelton, next time you're watching porn at 3 a.m., do you think you could turn the volume down so that all those shrieks and groans aren't heard by the whole neighborhood? It was so embarrassing. Because I'm thinking, why did they just assume it was porn? Just the thought that someone could actually be having sex in my apartment, is that on nobody's radar? I've only done comedy about 20 times in my life, so I don't even do stand-up comedy, really. I don't even call myself a comic. But when I did start, I went that route to, I'll get up there and make fun of myself. And the more I thought about it, it's really the safest kind of humor there is. Oh man, these reality shows are so lame. I was watching one the other day, they were like, these guys were trying to set a trap for some mythical albino bear. I was thinking, isn't that called a polar bear? To get up there and make fun of your own race, or get up there and make fun of how you look. Times taught me that it's really pretty cheap, and worst of all, it's safe. Just got a job with the city of LA. In my job interview, they said, well, Shelton, how do you think you'd work with women and minorities? I don't like safe. I said, how would I work with women and minorities? I said, I don't know. I guess I can tell them what to do as well as anyone. How hard can it be? I tried my cute little harmless polar bear joke, and you bloodthirsty dildos just weren't having it.
If you're not gonna be somebody's friend who you're attracted to or who you love just because they're not gonna give you sex.
So don't love women you're attracted to.
It's up to you.
If you have an interest in things possibly going further. I agree with you, it's not true love if there is an ulterior motive. But I think I speak for a lot of guys when I say that if a woman's really attractive and you're friends,
eventually they
there's a desire there.
Yeah.
What would you think would be a unsafe way to go about it?
An unsafe way of comedy? Well, if it scares me to say it. The best way you can show a woman that you're not a stalker is if her dog likes you. Everybody knows that, you know? It's like, there's this girl, I have such a crush on her. And so, when I had a chance to meet her dog, I was trying to get her dog to like me, because I needed to show her I wasn't a stalker, It was like, I was trying to pet it and play with it, and it wasn't having it. The dog was snapping at me and growling at me. Finally, when it bit me, I said, geez, dog, okay, I'll go around and knock on the front door to see what she's doing tonight. I see, dog, it's your backyard. So I'm trying to figure out how we men can be the good guys most of us want to be, yet not be penalized for it. When we watch over and over again, our female friends gladly call upon us when they need something, but give our needs to much douchier guys who aren't their friends.
I feel like you think you're entitled to sex.
I'm not entitled to it, but I'll delve into the area of race, and though there's no one race that I pick on specifically, I do find that to be some of the most daring stuff. Honestly, I really do enjoy watching a good white basketball player. Not out of hatred or anything like that, but just out of expressing truth. Because really, great comedy to me is all about telling the truth. I hate basketball, really, but when there's a good white basketball player, I'm glued to the TV cheering him on. I really am. And again, it's not racial, it's an underdog thing. I feel the exact same way about a black guy who could do something that they usually don't excel at. Something like race car driving. I hate race car driving. Dumbest sport, dumbest fans, but if there were a good black race car driver, I'd be glued to the TV. No, I still wouldn't watch race car driving. I didn't like the thought of telling black jokes amongst only white people. That felt weird to me. Racism still goes on. There was a case in Tennessee where this football coach wouldn't let the two black guys in the town play on this football team. Yeah, he said, I don't want to worry about race relations. So he didn't let him play. Upon hearing that, his crosstown rival said, wait a minute, that's not fair. If he's allowed to keep these two black kids off his football team because he doesn't want to worry about race relations, then we have the right to not worry about his football team. Interesting, that audience. To me, the only reason I would tell a racial joke about blacks or any other race is if they are in the audience. Now, we've come a long way with racism in our country. You know, when our country was first founded, to vote, you had to be white, you had to be male, and you had to own property. It's so fucked up. I mean, to make a good, law-abiding white guy like me have to own property, it's just wrong on so many levels. I'm kidding. Of course, they should let black men vote. No, they should let black men vote. As long as they own property.
Oh, hell. Do you think you're up to Robin Williams standards?
Well, Robin Williams, bless his heart, I loved him as an actor, but the reputation of Robin Williams was that he completely ripped off others' material.
Oh, really?
When he was younger, yeah. And that's something you just don't do.
Do you hear your voice in Shelton's performances?
I hear my jokes in Shelton's performances.
It's hard to say anything bad about Robin Williams because he is such an icon and he's such, well, actually, no. I don't have a problem saying something bad just because someone's an icon. I mean, Ted Nugent's an icon.
But he fucks up the timing, so...
Well, Shelton, you don't understand, man. On crystal meth, you get all this energy. You can like clean your house for 10 hours until your house is just spotless. You guys have probably heard that before, haven't you? People who try to talk good about crystal meth. And then I always have to say, yeah, you cleaned your house for 10 straight hours till it's spotless? Then why are you still such a smelly dirtbag?
So actually it's a disservice. It makes me look bad.
Speaking of smelly dirtbags, Kid Rock has a new album coming out, folks.
But you're saying that you're penalized for being nice and putting energy into a relationship and not getting sex in return. A woman has no obligation to give anybody sex.
I agree.
Ever.
I agree.
No matter how much you do for her, no matter how nice you are to her, she never is obliged to give you sex.
I agree with that. However,
so if you succeed at comedy, you're gonna consider transitioning to acting?
You know, he's out there essentially trying to make it in entertainment the same way that I am, but like the actors, like that's not the way to go. That's not original enough.
I was really impressed with him. That being said, he's an actor, and to me, the whole art of acting is a joke. I mean, like
a soap opera. It's not the coolest thing on the planet to be a soap actor, but neither is working the 11 to 7 shift at a hotel, for $15 an hour or whatever it was. So,
for someone who's done stand-up comedy and held their own and can hold their own against any comic like myself, when someone in LA comes up to me and says they're an actor and expects that to buy them respect with me, I'll let them know real quickly to step aside.
He'd like say, "Oh, dude, I'd be so disappointed in you if you ever like got a job doing something like that," and I'm like, "Why?"
How would you describe your creative process?
Humor comes to me every hour, every minute, every second. That's my creative process. There is no process.
He had some T-shirt that he made where he wrote, what was the word? Do you remember the word?
To me, what makes a great actor is having the taste to pick good movies.
Written in like black marker on like this white T-shirt, and that was like the coolest, most original thing that you could do, and he's up there talking about this or that.
It's the writers I respect. It's the ones who write the punchlines, the ones who create the stories. That's where the true genius lies.
I'm just trying to get some kind of role in this town to get a job going here, and this guy's trying to tell. Hey, he's not doing shit either.
He writes and stuff, so I have a lot of respect for Seth Rogen. That little circle jerk they have, I could see myself being a villain in a Tarantino movie. I'm sure if I met him, he'd hear my Kentucky accent. He'd be like, Tarantino would be like, Shelton, you're perfect for the villain in this. In my next movie, you will play the racist. The James Franco, who I don't find funny in any way, shape, or form, and Andy Samberg, who I do not find funny in any form. That whole clique, I just want to like get into it and just like make them all hate each other or something. Somebody's just got to break that up because it's really annoying. Yeah, it needs to be done.
He has his own unique perspective, but can't seem to appreciate that the thing about a unique perspective is most people don't share it.
I'm trying to think of some other comic influences. Adam Sandler grew on me. How much?
Like for me personally, my body is my temple. Just because somebody's nice to me doesn't mean I'm gonna let them into my sacred space.
I didn't hate Adam Sandler like some people did, but I just didn't really acknowledge him because I hate Saturday Night Live. And I hate improv troupes and musical comedians and all that stuff. And to me, Adam Sandler I just always kind of associated him with that. When I saw Click,
Shelton likes a little bit of everything.
I thought he deserved a second look. So I started watching his older movies and found him to be pretty damn brilliant.
That seems to be okay when Shelton likes a little bit of everything.
That being said, the movie The Cobbler almost undid every brilliant thing he ever did. Now he's almost back at zero with me. He's starting with a fresh slate because that was a dreadful movie. I'm not the kind of comic who's going to tell silly jokes and then make you chuckle and then be forgotten by the end of the night. My comedy, there's so much depth there. I just flew in from my home state of Kentucky. Kentucky's really good at preserving their historical landmarks. Unlike Southern California, every classic porn shop in LA is closing down. Isn't that just tragic? I'll tell you right now, the ones that are still open, you can credit me and my last Adderall binge. Don't everybody thank me at once here.
I think Shelton's lamest quality is his belief that he is the sole master of all that is tasteful.
I have the comedy that pierces your skull. And my goal is to put a tattoo on your fucking brain.
When Shelton talks...
when doesn't Shelton talk?
So I think the Farrelly Brother movies are a lot like that too. There's always something new. There's so much depth in their comedy. You find something new every time you watch one of their movies. And if I have comic heroes, it's the Farrelly Brothers, by far.
Anybody who's ever gotten a phone call from him at 2 a.m. knows what I'm saying. Word.
I'm all about sharing the wealth, but it's so annoying when an actor becomes successful and then he brings his whole clan of siblings along with him. You end up with 5 different Francos and I don't know how many Afflecks there are. And don't even get me started on the Wahlbergs. Comedians have always hated me. And the reason they hate me is because they were trying to develop a routine. And to me, comedy should be anything but routine. I want to go out there and take chances. I want to go out there and try new stuff every single time I do it. If there's not new material, there's no point in me doing comedy. Man, I got this comedy thing down. It's all about manipulating the audience, just getting them to think the way you want them to think. Either an MC that's going to sabotage me.
All right, everyone give it up for Owen Wilson's younger sister. Yeah.
Or some heckler in the audience who's going to try to throw me off. Like, try this exercise. Will you say white 3 times?
White, white, white.
What's a cow drink?
Water.
Milk, right? Yeah, see how I did that? You just steer people's thinking, right? no better than I did that one. I'm really gonna have a hard time with my exercise I'm trying to come up with where I can then ask a woman, now what would you like to do, sweetheart? Shelton, I'd like for you to splatter my face with a cum shot. Yeah, I'm still working on that one. Like the wanker tonight who tried to screw up my setup by yelling out water instead of milk when I wasn't even talking to him. I knew what he was doing, but I know I can't be stopped. I still took care of business. A lot of people think I'm gay. You guys think I'm gay? I'm from Kentucky, where the saying in Kentucky is, you suck dick once, you're a faggot for life. How do you think I feel? I've sucked too. Where the hell do I fit in?
He did a ton of like dick jokes and sex jokes and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, bro, man, what are you doing? And then, you know, like he's pissed at me because I'm having an audition for Twilight or something.
I do love she-male porn though. She-male porn is where it's at. I'm serious. Now, how many orifices does a person really need? I mean, but no, it's not really, it's not just...
Do you find a quest for fame dangerous to a recovering addict?
You know, I think it can be. I think we're given a primary purpose, and I think it's different for every one of us. I think that early in recovery, the focus should be to understand oneself really well. Get a better idea of, you know, where we've been conditioned to be. What role we play moving forward, in the sense that some of us are called to speak.
What I like about she-male porn is that straight porn makes me feel guilty. I think, man, did this poor girl really move out here to be an actress? Some guy get her strung out on coke and now she's like doing gangbangs? I feel guilty. How does a guy enjoy porn without feeling the shame of feeling like he's helping corrupt a woman? I'll tell you, she-male porn. You watch two trannies roll around with 10-inch cocks and perfect female bodies, watch them come all over each other. There's no guilt or shame. You just look at the TV and go, that's what they were meant to do.
I don't think it's counterproductive for any one of us to seek fame, per se, in the sense. We're to remain humble, and it depends on where we give, I guess you would call the glory.
When I say I'm good, I'm fucking great. When I say I'm great, I'm marvelous. And I'm saying I'm marvelous.
What do you think a quest for fame usually stems from?
I think it could be being outshined by siblings.
Who is funnier between the two of you?
I'm definitely funnier, but he is very funny. He is a funny guy. He makes me laugh out loud more often than he doesn't.
He really is one of the funniest guys I know.
Very small doses.
Yes.
So I think it could be by comparing self to an obsession of some concept or some idea that's not necessarily understood.
It's not that I envy celebrities, it's just that so many of them use their fame and fortune for real materialistic, selfish gain and never seem to consider the greater good. If I were king, I wouldn't sleep at night until I knew that every child and every animal had food and shelter. That's probably the second thing I'd do.
In some cases, it's to counter extreme lack of self-esteem and self-worth.
The first thing I'd do is I'd gather up Mark Wahlberg and, well, all the Wahlbergs. I can't keep them all straight. I'd gather them up along with anyone who had anything to do with that show Entourage. Any actor, any cameo, any staff member, any fan of Entourage. I'd gather them all up and I'd have them publicly tortured.
There's something definitely sick and twisted about that, and you will never achieve anything, I believe, by doing it out of character, without integrity.
I speak for the bullied. I speak for the underdog. I speak for the passive. Only I believe peace is earned. I believe it's fought for.
What is his lamest quality?
Like one?
I'd rather write research papers on the Kardashians than I would sit through one episode of Entourage.
I think oftentimes we're fueled to head in certain directions, seeking comfort, seeking material gain.
I've never been materialistic. I think anyone who owns a Rolex should be executed and have their pockets searched.
I think he goes a little overboard sometimes, but it's probably just because he's so hardcore.
And I don't think it's always necessarily a false fuel. I think it's appropriate if one decides that that's something that they're gifted to do and is carrying some message of hope of some sort. Maybe utilizing their painful experiences in a healthy way.
So I've been sober a year. People think sobriety is boring. It's exciting. I mean, just sitting around and wondering which one of your close friends is going to be the next to relapse is thrilling beyond belief. What kind of raunchy details are going to accompany their fall?
Is he a misunderstood, underappreciated artist, as he claims, or simply someone who needs to be a center of attention out of some insecurity?
I do believe both.
I was watching this documentary the other night on David Koresh. It was so depressing because, I mean, as far as charisma goes, I'm not worthy to hold David Koresh's urine sample. I mean, he was a moral piece of shit, but he was a great looking, amazing musician. They played about 10 seconds of one of his sermons on the news. I was ready to start speaking in tongues.
I don't think art in general is a vehicle for anything except for one's way to express himself.
And fuck me, David Koresh had to declare war on the federal government to leave his mark. And his charisma kicks my ass. What the hell am I gonna have to do?
I think if we're blessed enough to find our passion and our gifts, and we're able to utilize those in a certain direction, and fame is the outcome, then that's good, that's great.
Women, and there are women who truly have a spiritual quest for purity, and I can respect that. But the women, I think, that puzzle men are the ones that accept the love from the guy to have their needs fulfilled. Acknowledging that sex is a need for men, yet watch their male friends, the friend-zoned friends, suffer and not get their needs met when they go fuck some other guy. Now that's a big win. If that's happening, why not the friend?
Yeah, just getting back into shape slowly. Just wishing the process was a lot quicker than what it is.
It's tough getting back if you've been out for a while. I recently tried to join a boxing gym and get back into shape, and I should have seen the writing on the wall when they matched me up with a 50-year-old gay man as my sparring partner.
I do believe that Shelton loves the sound of his own voice.
He was a cool guy and all. I'm not homophobe or anything, but it did get kind of weird when my sparring partner started kind of coming on to me a little bit. And that was awkward because, like, that's never the two shall meet. Dude, I said, buddy, listen, we're either going to be lovers or we're going to be sparring partners. We're not going to do both. I mean, can you imagine that? Going a few rounds with another guy, smacking each other around, sweating all over each other, and then after that, actually wanting to go fight? I mean, what the
Sometimes when Sheldon posts extreme things on Facebook, it may seem like pure madness, and sometimes it is.
The Statue of Liberty says, send me your wounded, send me your weak, your oppressed.
Sometimes it's a rant.
I say, send me your arrogant, send me the bullies, send me the people who call themselves the alpha males. Serve them up to me.
Sometimes it's a drunken stupor.
I'll make them reconsider their place in the universe. That's the deeper message that I want to send.
What part does ego play in addiction?
I would say mostly due to the control.
When I think of my sobriety, I am so grateful for crystal meth. I mean, no matter how much shame and regret and embarrassment that I live with in my sobriety, As long as there's crystal meth and people dumb enough to use it, I can always judge someone.
But coherent Sheldon, there's always a method to his madness.
So how do you know that you're not perceived as the villain to somebody else?
I'm sure I am.
He either wants to motivate other people to chime in, to get fired up, to get feedback, to start a dialogue.
And that's why I love the statement, great men are known more by their enemies than they are their friends.
Pride absolutely keeps us from accepting a surrender or any type of accountability.
Because if you look at great men who changed things in history, it was what they opposed that made them great. It was the courage they showed in the face of their opposition.
I think ego is one of the biggest reasons that we stay out, that we continue to bury ourselves deeper in addiction.
Nature in general is to be competitive.
Sure.
So, and a lot of that is where the whole alpha male domination thing comes from. What makes you any different?
His whole wanting to be artistic and speak his mind and do what he wants.
I feel I'm not a hypocrite on that because I feel like I'm hitting back. I never even wanted to do comedy. I'm a hippie stoner musician at heart. I've been brought to this.
It's pretty unfair if you think that your way is okay and that your principles are indeed factual.
With my humor, you're either gonna get it or you're gonna get it. Here's the root of all racism. Racism starts when people start taking pride in their own culture. You know what I mean? Every year we get together and we celebrate our people. Fuck your people.
Is like an actor who wants to run the whole show, is forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballet, the scenery, the rest of the players in his own way.
He does. He certainly thinks that his opinions are indeed fact, which is problematic because he's setting expectations for the entire world that nobody's allowed to have their opinions and whatever he says goes, which is very controversial.
Because the minute we start taking pride in our own, we start developing this otherness. There's us and there's them. There ain't nothing special about your ancestry. I get it. People always say, well, Shelton, if you're not funny to some people, it's going to piss them off. That's not a consequence. If someone doesn't get my humor, which everyone should, pissing them off isn't a consequence, it's a goal.
If his arrangements would only stay put, if only people would do as he wished, the show would be great. Everybody, including himself, would be pleased. It's Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book, page 60.
It should be called Shelton.
I don't care who you are. Hey, and that goes for me too. If my no good great Irish grandpa got his drunk ass shot outside of a saloon, bury him in the ground, and the faster he fertilizes a tree, the better mankind is for it. Fuck your people. Is everyone clear on how I feel about that? And like Bodie said from Point Break, it stings a little bit, but it's all for their own growth. It truly is. I don't know how we take that as guys any other way then. Well, you can't be friends with the woman.
Sex changes a lot of things. It's not like sex is just nothing,
If you had to put a label on your comedy, what would it be, vulgar or just...
When are these terrorist attacks gonna end, man? It's horrible. And now they have women being suicide bombers. It's infuriating. Some of these Muslim women are so pretty. It's like, in the era of obesity, the last thing we need are hot women blowing themselves up. Yeah, they said it was going to be a friendly crowd, so wait till I piss them off. But I don't find vulgar funny on its own. Blows herself up. Does she get 72 virgins too? I mean, that wouldn't be fair. You spend your whole life with your face covered, your husband beats the shit out of you as he sees fit, and then when you die, you spend eternity with 72 geeks who can't be peeled away from their Xbox. No justice. It's kind of like music, loud and powerful, does not make a great song.
Yep.
Loud does not make things funny. It has to have substance to it. I was reading this article the other night on magnets, all right? And it said that when a magnet is isolated from other metals for long enough, its chemistry changes and it actually begins to repel metals that it should attract. So fuck me, it sounds like a dry spell.
You know, after you have sex with somebody, you're energetically tied to them. There might be certain expectations. You know, are we gonna do this again? Are we not?
You go long enough without sex, your chemistry changes and you begin to repel people you should attract. You walk into the room, hey girls, they just scatter like a fucking fire drill. Because that sends the message that it is just a physical act. This guy will take care of my physical, but this guy will be my friend. You may be asking yourself, like, well, how do I know if I need to get laid so bad that my chemistry has started to change? Well, here's one sign. How much time are you spending sitting around reading about magnets? That might be a sign that it's time for a date.
The dating life.
Mine?
Yours? Yeah.
Mine? Well,
how would you describe his love life?
Love life? Wasn't aware there was one.
And again, I've not always been the good guy in this. I've been.
Shelton has talked himself out of more pussy than anybody.
When I've been a complete douchebag, I do tend to get in some twisted, weird way.
The quote, Shelton has talked himself out of more pussy than anybody else, or however it went.
It could be.
But again, we're talking about hypothetical.
This is kind of a complicated subject.
It is.
Else, or however it went. That was not me. That was Ben. I can't take credit for it, much as I would like to. God, I would love to. But again, ain't no Carlos Mencia shit going on up in here. That was Ben. Damn it!
I think that if a woman is not having sex with you, then she just doesn't find you attractive. End of story. It's not about being a friend. It's not about being in the friend zone. It's straight up, she does not find you attractive.
I have plenty of female friends who tell me they love me constantly.
He definitely takes things personally when he is not the center of attention. That I do believe. I've seen that with my own eyes.
Well, Shelton, you're not the sexiest guy in California because women like guys with mystique.
It was like awkward. It was weird to have those conversations where he would be basically just telling you that that he is sexier than you are, and these other people, which was, you're just, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you even getting at?
Like including Brad Pitt, and he was like, yes,
yeah, I know.
Yes.
You're just like, what are you like? Who thinks this kind of stuff?
The next time I saw her, I completely ignored her just to kind of test the theory. And she went home, said I made her cry by being so mean to her. I didn't say anything mean to her. I just gave her the cold shoulder because, after all, she was so attracted to mystique.
Has he ever asked you for help on any issues with women?
Yes. He just failed to heed my advice.
I don't know what it is.
You're not sure if he's very, very confident or if he's delusional.
Yeah.
And I often wonder, to this day, even after knowing him for over a decade.
Yeah.
He'll say he's the sexiest man in the world, or in California, or in Southern California, or maybe it's LA County. Maybe it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Sometimes I think Sheldon's completely delusional. Psychologists would call it delusions of grandeur.
Oh, it's a burden being the coolest guy in the room.
Other people call it being a cocky asshole. Truth's probably somewhere in the middle.
And I have been since the day I figured out you become the coolest guy when everyone knows that you're sleeping with the hottest girls. I mean, I've been doing that since high school. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I don't fuck around. I mean, the moment I saw her my freshman year, it only took me like a week to tell everyone I had slept with her. That joke never works.
what he thinks he's good at, he thinks he's the best at in the whole world, which is like a little strange, I think.
I make people laugh at will. Even when people are laughing at me, I'm the puppet master.
At first I thought this guy's like full of it. I don't see how anybody could actually really think that highly of themselves, but I think he actually really does think that.
Kind of starts out as a game, but
I think I'm the only gentleman left in the world. The only guy who still knows how to treat a woman.
then if he gets into a cerebral breakdown of it, he actually starts believing it.
My girlfriend and I, we have an agreement that 3 times a year, we go out, we spare no expense, and we really just do something really special to commemorate the love between us. The other day she said, Shelton, that free employee party you took me to the other night, that doesn't count as one of our 3 special nights, does it? I said, well, of course that counts. And that's 3, because last time in January when I took you to Golden Corral, you went through the buffet line twice. And in one sitting, I'm not always going to get the loudest applause or the loudest laughs, because most people are dumb sheep.
And he's talented, but
He
I
is.
think what he does sometimes, and maybe this is the artist's curse, because I think we've all done it, is when things start going well, he'll sabotage it.
A lot of people were homeless who end up in treatment centers, and all their stories the same. It's always like, yeah, I was living under a dumpster in Huntington Beach. Oh, I was living under a dumpster in Hollywood. Why does every homeless person choose to sleep under a dumpster? I mean, in California, we have beaches, we have parks. I've almost been homeless a couple of times, and I can assure you the thought I didn't have was, which dumpster am I gonna go sleep under? I mean, I'm driving around thinking, all right, now, which rich family around here has a backyard with a hot tub and no Rottweiler?
And I don't know if it's because he's scared of succeeding, or he's got a fear of failure, or maybe he's got this fear that he'll be found out that he's not as talented as he thinks he is. Or maybe he is and the joke's on us. I don't know.
A lot of my high school days were spent drinking and smoking weed alone, listening to oldies radio when my friends were listening to Metallica and Guns N' Roses and all that shit.
Why do so many passionate artists struggle with addiction?
I think one of the problems we run into is that we find our passion, we kind of find our niche many times while under the influence.
It did fuel an alcohol, and well, at that time I guess it was just alcohol.
Passion is something we had before we picked up. Passion is something that works when our pleasure center is in order and we're given opportunities to try random things until we find our gifts and we find our joy, and it's usually heightened by use initially, and in many cases we're able to really focus and delve into whatever it is that we're doing initially.
You can get really good advice if you listen. He's not big on that.
Became more self-destructive throughout the years, and destructive. I don't want to minimize it by saying self-destructive to imply that no one else was hurt, but it set the stage for lots of drinking alone time, which didn't serve me very well.
Did you have any interactions with him when he was going through all his, alcohol, and he was really...
Yeah.
Sometimes we commingle the thought that we would not be able to do it quite the same without. Again, we get heightened personal experiences. The pleasure center is oftentimes distorted.
There's an expectation on me in darn near every social setting to say something funny at all times. I've spoiled my peers that much.
One other thing I can say about Shelton, he is driven for success, and success isn't completely foreign to him. I mean, he's successfully completed rehab 3 times.
But the reason I don't have a tangible body of work is that I've been giving it away for free all these years.
Shelton is pretty tormented. I think that Shelton has insecurities.
He would say he was happy, but I think deep down you knew that there was a lot of turmoil.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm tired of coming cheap, given the skills that I bring to the table.
I'm sure when he was drinking and drugging, he was the most like fucked up and miserable person to be around.
But he would like call me randomly like after a year, and I would get like literally 10-15 minutes of voicemails, like 4 or 5 different phone calls of like a completely hammered dude that I hadn't talked to in a year, leaving me all these messages about I don't even know what now, but telling me about how I don't know I can't even think of specifics. He had destroyed his life and he alienated everybody, and I'm one of the only people left. And I'm like, I'm one of the only people left. I haven't talked to you in a year, bro. Like, what do you? I mean, we were work friends, but just wild stuff like that.
If there weren't pain, there probably wouldn't be comedy. And so if there's not pain, there's really no need for it.
Sheldon has had his struggles with drugs and alcohol, but it's only because he wants nothing more to be a tortured artist, and has experienced no other torture in his life than his own making.
Is your enemy invisible? Is he yourself? Is he a figure in your own head?
Many of us lack self-esteem, so because of that we tend to overcompensate, whether that's in the surface, the facade that we run. We want to fit some unrealistic sense of being.
I'm done trying to rescue people from their own mediocrity. Most people just throw it back in my face anyway.
If you don't have any hardships in your own life, you just go out and create your own.
He broke his foot.
I don't know if I remember that.
Then he had to go to the doctor for painkillers, which of course was his choice, drug of choice,
Sure.
one of them.
Yeah.
More often than not, in order to feed our addiction, we probably create an overabundance of wreckage.
And then as it started to heal, he took a hammer to his foot.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I didn't know this.
To re-break it, to be able to go back and get more painkillers.
Like, addiction stuff is a good thing to like use because so much funny shit has happened through addictions with everyone. Like, you can look back and like think of it as a dark thing and stupid thing that happened, but to us it's funny.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if you twist it right, it's funny to them.
Absolutely. You guys ever smoked so much weed and gotten so stoned that you really thought you were going to overdose on pot? It's happened. It's so embarrassing because there's nowhere to run for help. If you go complain to your friends that you're ODing on pot, you know they're just going to laugh at you. You know, you go to a hospital, the doctor's just going to laugh at you, but at the same time you're like really freaking out. Everybody's laughing, having fun. You're sitting over in the corner holding your pulse rate to call 911. It's terrible. Oh, that's not even the scary part. No, the scary part's when your buddy sees you holding your pulse and he walks over and he says, "Dude, you look worried." And then he says, "Don't worry, man. This is that creeper weed. It'll kick in. Be patient." So you know you are working in addiction and being an addict myself. There's never a shortage of material, that's for sure. It's like a different language working in a drug treatment center. I was talking to this girl the other day and she said, "Yeah, I relapsed when my husband got laid off from work." I said, well, what's your husband do? "He does meth and oxys." It's like a whole different way of thinking.
There's like a big joke all day going on.
It really is. It's and there's because most of us who struggle with addiction do live with shame, and we do live with embarrassment and regret and all that. What are you gonna do? Sit there and beat yourself up for the rest of your life, or try to use it to hopefully put a smile on people's faces, and in doing so, provide some healing for yourself? In Orange County, there are two kinds of people. There are those who go to rehab and relapse, and then there are those who go to rehab and work at treatment centers and relapse. And you can laugh at things that other people may find too sensitive to laugh about. I think the healing power of comedies can be pretty supernatural. You know, the hardest part about being sober is if you work at a job where all day, all people talk about is how fucked up they're gonna get. We're gonna get hammered this weekend. We're gonna get flambéed this week. They start coming up with words. Here's a joke you can play on your coworker. You know, the one who's been telling you all week how fucked up he's gonna get. All right, here's what you do. It will start a fist fight every single time. You walk up to him when you see him at the bar, and you walk up to your coworker who's been telling you all week how fucked up he's gonna get, and you see him say, hey man, cool. You got drunk. Fuck you, don't call me drunk.
In a way, it seems that the people that do make it, the people that are recognized, are the people that are truly themselves.
Absolutely.
They're the ones that stand out.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Sheldon puts himself out there and feels resentment when other people don't do the same because he's left vulnerable and exposed.
So when you know what you stand for, and you believe in the cause you stand for, you can trust your intuition. And uniqueness isn't something that you create, it's the result of knowing what you stand for.
His driving motivation behind everything is a fear of mediocrity. I don't think that's anything he's got to worry about. Like him or love him, he's going to win or fail spectacularly. Sadly, it may be the latter.
So when you're doing stand-up and you just like completely bomb, is it like as painful as people make it out to be?
Worse. The way I see it is the day Tom Brady tells us that he's throwing so many touchdown passes because he's worried about aliens and making a good impression, I'll start studying UFOs too. But it's always the biggest loser.
Of all the works of art that Shelton has put out,
The works of art.
what has been your favorite?
Wait, for real, did you say works of art? God, there are just so many.
To me, art isn't about making art, it's about having something to say. How much people hate Republicans? If anyone really truly believes that George W. Bush had those towers bombed, you're so fucking stupid, you shouldn't be allowed to eat a meal without a bib.
What's some of the jokes you think that maybe bombed?
All the rest of them?
For me to get my justice artistically, because I've always had to condescend my brains and my talent to reach out and relate to idiots. Why don't you come up with a conspiracy that maybe helps you afford your own cigarettes? Let's like start there, you know?
I don't know.
So did you ever give him your opinion on the videos that he would send out?
You know, I think I was fairly honest with him about what I thought. Some of it was funny, you know, like, I mean, I gotta say, like, you know, from my point of view, doing stand-up comedy is, you know, not an easy thing.
The sense of humor is such a precious part of a relationship. If you think of who your best friends are, more than likely, the thing you love most about them is that you share a common sense of humor.
Metallica's making a new video. Yeah. Well, they made a video a few years ago that took place in a prison with real prisoners. They're doing it again next month. All right, now that's how you set up a joke that's dated.
It's not like you say, well, you know, I like this guy in other ways, but we don't have a common sense of humor. When you don't align with someone comically, you really don't like anything about him.
I was thinking, can you imagine anything worse than being on that film crew? Being stuck inside of an unventilated prison, all right? Surrounded by all those sweaty, greasy, angry members of Metallica. Those poor fucking prisoners. That's cruel and unusual.
You know, I remember hearing my laughter, like sometimes the only voice in the crowd, and I would try to laugh louder.
Yeah.
To make him feel better. Some of the jokes were funny.
Yeah.
I hate it when you do something that makes you look like a stalker, even though you're not a stalker. That's happened to every guy in here. Like this girl the other day, I kind of have a crush on her, and she said, Shelton, I saw you driving by my house the other day. And I was like, so what? you just happened to be looking out your window when I just happened to be driving by? She said, Shelton, I saw you drive by my house all 5 times. She said, yeah, you know, later that night, I didn't appreciate it. I was so creeped out, I couldn't sleep. I said, well, later that night, you could have called me to come cuddle with you. Later that night, I was in the area. Bad? Were they easy to understand?
Yeah. Hey, I think what you were doing is the tone of your voice, you're almost like pointing them to where, like, hey, this is the punchline right here. Get ready, get ready, get ready. This is the punchline. You have to...
It's ruining the surprise?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you have to. Because most people are going to daydream through a set anyway. And I don't know. Did I seem rattled? Did I seem like it got to me a little bit?
A little bit.
Early? Late? I did reach a point where I didn't care. But I know like halfway through, I was like, I remember thinking, I need one of these jokes to work. At least one. And it never happened. And I think they wrote me off really early.
Yeah, it does have to suck too, because like when you're with your friends and like you're saying something funny and like it's not really funny to them, you can like whatever, get up, walk away, or you just say like, all right, well, fuck you guys. You can't really do that to a crowd of people that paid to come see you.
Exactly. There's nowhere to run. Let me tell you guys something about stand-up comedy. Right.
You want to go interview some people?
Fuck no, I don't want to go interview some people. You know, we're not really artists. We're just people who've embarrassed ourselves so much that what's one more night, you know? It's like...
Is it quiet enough to film in here?
Yeah, I think so. I suppose. Quiet as one of Shelton's shows.
Ouch.
I have a buddy who has a Playboy collection. 50 classic Playboys. I'm so jealous of my buddy who owns those 50 classic Playboys. Because I wish 50 classic Playboys would still get me off.
Hey, you guys, hold on. You guys want this guy to come back up here? So there he is. Hold on, Evan. Here we go.
What did they not get about my reach around joke?
They don't get it.
What was it hard to understand? What was not to get?
Nobody watches gay porn, dude.
I think it deserves a wider, what's it called, sample size. Just like Shawshank, time and pressure. I've had shows that just felt like a bad trip. Like you just wanted to end. Just like, when is this? When am I gonna come down? I've almost walked off stage a couple times. Shame on you. You guys know, sharing a room with me tonight was the greatest accomplishment any of you collectively will ever have. No, I don't want to, because I'll end up starting a fight.
I'll get it on camera.
That would be entertaining. I'm very aware of the darkness that lives in me. And I'm so scared of, pretending it's not there. And having someone love the me that is hiding that. Well, and I do acknowledge that there often is an ulterior motive when the woman's attractive. And then you have to get into, well, am I doing it because I really love this woman? Or is there, you know, a long-term goal in mind? And I'll acknowledge that.
That's what you want. You want fame, you want recognition.
Well,
but are you doing this for the fame, or are you doing this for yourself? Or are you doing it for the people that you're targeting, the people that you want to hear your message?
I think in a sense, all the above.
Do you think in most cases achieving fame corrupts a healthy mind, or does an unhealthy mind long for fame to compensate for the void?
These are correct. And fame is the only way my life makes sense.
I think it could go both ways.
It's the only way my voice gets heard to the level that it deserves.
Someone that is lacking or found wanting might invest a lot of energy in trying to find freedom through that avenue.
So much in the ways of talent that for me not to be famous, I really feel that that mankind loses out. I truly, truly believe that.
Because if
But that's why we're here to
because if
fix
a
it.
woman is continuing a friendship with a man who she knows he wants to have sex with her, and you know, girls aren't stupid. Like, we can usually tell if a guy's interested.
I think it's very important in recovery in general for us to focus on where we started, where we come from, and what we're capable of.
And the longer that the woman lets that go on for, and she knows she's keeping him in the friend zone, and she knows that she's leading him on essentially, but it's a friendship.
Even if she's not leading him on or flirting.
Then the flaw is within the woman. She's using the man for her emotional needs, and she's not giving the man his physical needs. She has friend zoned him.
Yeah.
And when he's in the friend zone, get out of there. And you can't get out of there by having sex with her because she won't do it. Get out of there and move on to somebody new.
Interesting. Well,
because that girl
heard
is
it here.
playing you.
Yeah. Do you think it's always that malicious? Or do you think there are some women who women who know they're attractive? Are there some women naive enough to think that the men being friends with them don't have it in the back of their mind that, boy, it'd be nice if this happened?
Yeah. There are women who are that naive.
Yeah.
Who they just, either their self-worth is so low, they don't believe that they're beautiful. They don't believe that any man would be attracted to them. Or...
Do you have any phone numbers?
On that same note, I think it's good for any of us to be praised for our gifts.
I owe it to my parents, who taught me a work ethic that was really unparalleled when I looked around.
With these easy opportunities laid out before him, he feels that puts a burden on him to take the chances that less fortunate people didn't have the luxury to take. Do you believe him, and do you feel the same call to...
I believe that he believes that, but I also think he's completely full of shit.
Look, the angel of death could come to me tonight, and I would say, fuck you, I'm going nowhere until I achieve my destiny.
He doesn't have any price to pay. Just be a cool person because you want to be a cool person, man.
But when we were done with this project, I was left with more questions than I had before we started.
When I moved to LA, I moved into the hostel. Interesting place, a hostel. You know, I met backpackers from all over Europe at the LA hostel. I met backpackers from all over Asia at the LA hostel. And oh yeah, I met backpackers from all over Los Angeles at the Los Angeles hostel.
He is lucky to have me, and I've taught him everything he knows, except the shitty parts. And that's not my bad because he won't listen to me.
When locals turn their hostel into a trap house, it really ruins the international vibe of what a hostel's supposed to be, you know?
It's the journey, it's the drive, it's the search more than the end result that is his motivation.
I was this close to standing on the roof of that place, and I was going to yell at the top of my lungs. I was going to yell, "Hello, losers. Hostels are designed to temporarily house travelers."
False fuel, the unknown. If I'm found wanting and there's something that I haven't reached or attained, and I believe mentally that that'll bring me the relief that I'm looking for, then absolutely, I would strive in any direction I thought that would bring me the relief that I'm looking for. Fortunately for me, I've exhausted many false fuels, and I know it comes from within.
And then I was going to say, hostels are not a place for local losers who can't afford their rent. I almost said that for real. The only thing that stopped me was, when I got on the roof at the last minute, I realized, well, fuck me, I've been here 6 months. Maybe I've worn out my welcome too.
Let's just say mixed reviews.
Okay.
It's spray.
Okay. I mean, how did my reach around joke not work?
They don't get it.
What's not to get?
Nobody watches gay porn.
I started laughing. That's perfect. I started laughing. I'm sorry. Look.
Well, I want to get something in there about your perseverance. Just look at how much success you've had. You've successfully completed rehab 3 times.
Okay. Well,
I got that right.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like success is foreign to Shelton. Successfully. One more time.
Okay. Sue.
What's with the whistle? We're making art here.
Direct it and make it sound like you're complimenting me. You can say, Shelton, he really is a fighter. And when he puts his mind to something, he succeeds. And they'll think you're going to say something nice and then go, he succeeded at committing, rehab 3 times.
One other thing I can say about Shelton, he is driven for success.
Actually, I've only successfully completed rehab once, but I'll let you.